Ms. Seiden,
Here.
Ms. Tanner,
Here.
Mr. Burke,
Here.
Mr. Bender,
Here.
Mr. Laughlin, Mr. Corbin.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. So as I've talked in the previous meetings, we've had a couple of educational sessions. Today, we're going to look at projects from the engineering department, the public works department, and Tammany Utilities. Not every project they have going on. Daniel has sent me a pack that is very, very thick, but at least be some of the key ones that they're going to talk about today in their respective areas. Hopefully we get some questions. They're across the whole parish. And Daniel, I really appreciate the updated map that you got.
That wasn't me, that was Jay.
Oh, Jay. Jay, I really appreciate the updated map that you were able to pull together so quickly. Originally, we just had the presentations, but the map should be able to give you a link as we're talking about each project as to where it's located on the map. So, Jay, thanks for you and Daniel for pulling that together. I really do appreciate it. And Daniel, you can go ahead and go first and get started.
All right, I guess quickly before I get into the projects themselves, Department of Engineering has about 179 projects we're tracking right now. So we have a fair bit portion of it. I think this would be like a 6-hour-long meeting if we went through them all. We do not want that. So we limited the discussion to things we currently have under construction or things we're expecting to go to construction in the next 3 months or so. And then anything I may have coming up that I might be requesting additional monies for a budget amendment, just so that y'all are aware. Just as a general side note, I think Councilman Corbin had gotten it before, showing him an example of it. We do track all our projects, kind of shifting over to a new method on that. So we're still ironing out a few things on it, but I'm willing to share it now, just so y'all can see what we're doing and see the quantity of stuff we're doing. Another thing we're doing is my goal is for August to have a full project manual for the department together. So again, when I say something's in study or evaluation, everybody might not follow along with that to know step by step of how we handle capital projects in the parish. So we're getting that together too, just as a guidepost, nice flow charts that can show how a project moves through our processes. It'll be great.
Daniel, that's really appreciative. If I could interject also to the members of the committee or the other peers that are not here, if you have any projects in particular that come up that you identify or hear about that you'd like to have added to our agenda, we're going to do this once a quarter. So the next one, as Daniel pointed out, would be August. We'll do this again. If there's something specific you want to address at that time, please let me know and we'll make sure it's added to the agenda. If there's a special breakout we need to have for a little more emphasis on a singular project, we can do that. And then Daniel and I have already talked about it. Jay and I've talked about it a little bit. I haven't really talked about it with Chris a lot. Getting some red, yellow, green kind of metrics so we run ahead of schedule, behind schedule, over budget, to give us some very quick cues. Are we on schedule? Are we on budget? Is the project proceeding as we want it to? So we have very, very good indicators of where things are happening. So, Daniel, back to you.
All right, I'll kick off if it goes to my slide. First set of projects, these are engineering projects that are currently under construction. Sharp Road Improvements Phase 2. It's close to a $7 million construction project in Councilman Phillips' district, from Asby to Highway 59. We're sitting at around 23% complete. Now, when I'm telling you percent complete on these, what we're basing it off of what has been billed to the parish on the project. That's an easy way to represent what's complete. So I guess you'd say month's going to always be an invoice. The actual work's going to be an invoice ahead of what I'm showing percent complete. But that's where we're sitting at on Sharp Road. Again, back to Councilman Phillips' district, we have Soul Drive, Hellenberg Road, and Meir Drive. These were 3 separate budget items that we combined into one larger project that's sitting at 36% complete. I would like to say that that's actually a little bit ahead of that. I'm waiting for the speed tables to come in on this one, Councilman Phillips, because it's a nice raceway right now before we get those in. It's beautiful asphalt out there, if you haven't been down it.
Daniel, can you, as you go through these, kind of give us the top level, what the purpose or objective of that project was?
Okay.
Whether it's just a mill and overlay, are we rebuilding a road, are we widening the road? Just at a very top level explanation. If you could back up to Sharp Road and start there.
Sharp Road is to facilitate 2 things. One is the road was in very poor condition, so it's a rebuild of the roadway as well as installing subsurface drainages along portions of the roadway that need it. There is going to be a third phase to this, which is a state grant that's funded for sidewalks down the length of Sharp Road. That will be coming as well, but I guess you say you got to close in the ditches before you can put the sidewalks or it doesn't work. So that's the order of operations for it. Soul Drive, Hellenberg Road, and Mere Drive was mainly focused on the rehabilitation of the roadways. It does have some minor drainage improvements as part of it, and then including some speed tables on, I think these 25-mile-an-hour roads averaged 85th percentile speed, close to 45, so it's pretty intense on the speeding through the area. Coin to Leston road elevations. This is at 9 locations in Coin to Leston. We did a hydraulic evaluation of the subdivision. They have some, where your drainage at's, where a dip in the road's at. Some roads were flooding more frequently at the low locations in this roadway. So we're bumping up the elevations at the drainage crossings and then adjusting the drainage to accommodate the loss of cross section.
This is similar to what you did, as I know, on Old River Road?
Yes,
filling
very
that,
similar.
that space. Also, just as a thought going forward, is think about the length of the mileage of these. I don't expect you to know that off the top of your head, but since this is an interactive, we're going to learn process.
Yep.
Another column might be what's the length of the project? So the purpose and also how many miles it is, or a subset of miles. Thanks.
So I said it's fun learning through these things. That project's almost complete. It's in Councilman Bender's district. Yep. The big one on the list, Mandeville Bypass Road. It's a $28 million construction project. They're making their way, clearing through it. As with any project, as you say, you hit a little hiccup here and there. Sometimes they're a big deal, sometimes they're not. We had, let's say, clearing operations showed some unsuitable soil materials on the front portion of it. It's a small issue for the scale of the project. We're working through it. We also have the connection at US 190 that we're navigating a few things with DOTD on for construction traffic. Again, for the grand scheme of the project, that's small potatoes. If that's the only problems we have to deal with, I'm tickled. Square 154 drainage. That's on Caroline, Carroll, and Lafitte Streets, and Councilwoman O'Brien's district. Creek construction. This is closing in some ditches along the street, and we reworking the drainage in this older neighborhood to improve drainage flow. 75% complete, and we're expecting that to be wrapped up next month. The next project is a rehabilitation project for Berry Todd Road and Dixie Ranch Road in Lacombe. Just so you note on here, it shows 0% complete. So technically, this project is under the contract's been let, contracts have been executed, and we're waiting to issue a notice to proceed on it. So it's in that in-between land right now. But as soon as I have a notice to proceed date, everyone will be aware. Same with Pinnacle Parkway rehabilitation in Councilman Smith's district. We say, I'm glad we're doing this after Costco came in, not before. It's the right time. The pavement's in pretty poor condition out in certain locations, and this is going to be rehabbing and I say the entire length of Pinnacle Parkway. If you look when you get off the interstate exit at that location, the asphalt shifts colors. Where it shifts colors, it's the differentiation between state as part of the interchange and then us. So I guess that's the best way to determine your eastern extents to it. If you're riding down that road, pay attention, watch when the asphalt changes colors. That's where we're starting. And again, this is due to pavement condition out there. Lower W15 area drainage canal. So in Councilman Burke's district. This was a long time coming. It took us a while to get to this, but it's underway. They're 20% complete on billables, and I'm not aware of any issues being encountered so far, so it's moving smoothly. Yep, September. And then me and Engineering and Public Works combined our presentation, so I'm gonna turn it over to Jay real quick to go through Public Works projects.
On the Sharp Road, it says 6.9. Is that for phases 1, 2, and 3?
No, that's just for phase 2.
Okay, thank you.
I believe the first phase was at 1.6 million, and
Okay.
then I can get you,
No, that's
I'm
fine.
not recalling on.
I was just curious what that number was.
Thank you, Daniel. And so I think the way Daniel has this, we've got projects under construction, so we'll move into Public Works projects under construction, then I'll turn it back over to Daniel, and he'll talk about things that are upcoming, and we've also got some Public Works projects that are upcoming as well. So first on the slideshow list, we have District 7, 9, 12, and 13. And I believe we handed out this packet as well for y'all to kind of follow along with. It's got a little bit more additional information in it. It lists the different roads that we actually have in the package and which district those roads are in. But the 7, 9, 12, and 13 package was the first asphalt package of the year to get out to bid, and so it's about 50% complete right now. Just something to note that we didn't include on this, but we can in the future, is that all of our projects have come in under budget right now. If they weren't under budget, we'd be coming back asking for a budget amendment to increase those budgets. We've, back after COVID, that happened to us multiple times with just all the price increases that have happened. But lately, we've been getting really good prices on a lot of the projects that we put out to bid. So we've been under budget, and so far we're on time with all of our projects right now. So the second project that we have out is with Donahoe Construction for Districts 6 and 11. It's also mainly mill and overlays. There are some reconstructs, I would imagine, on some of these roads as well. But so for these first two projects, this is your typical asphalt roadways, mill and overlays, and we try to bundle the districts that are geographically located near each other in order to get more cost savings and put out a larger project, get better unit prices. The third project we have listed is our concrete panel replacements. Councilman Bender, we talked about how we do your district and Oak Harbor Boulevard. A lot of times we've got concrete panels. Councilman Burke, a lot of the roads I think are in your district. I think we've got, let's see if I've got District 1, 8, 13, and 11, I believe, are all included in the concrete panel replacement package, and it's about 10% complete right now. It's a new contractor, Alonzo LLC, that we haven't worked with before, but they seem to be acclimating to what we're looking for and moving along fine so far. Next, we get into some of the smaller drainage projects that were also district funded. Place Saint Germain is a concrete liner project, I believe, in District 1. And then we have two sidewalk repair projects that are in District 14, Councilman Strickland, Huntwick Village and Kings Point subdivision. Following that, we've got the turning radius improvements that's in District 8, 10, and 14. We're about 20% of the way through. We've been having really good success with turning radius projects in the various districts. We've got a lot of narrow roads that intersect either into collector roads or state highways. And I think we found, Maureen, in your district, we've done a handful of them going down Highway 59. And then in Arthur's district and Joe's we've done as well. So they've been very well received. Did you have a question, Councilman Corbin?
Yeah, I was just going to ask, so the turning radius project, there typically be an open ditch because we have a lot of those. So you'd extend the culvert and then put a softer curve to transition
Yeah,
from
so
one
we-
road to the next. So you have to first extend the culvert, then build something up on top of it, and then put roadway material on it.
That's typically correct. So
Okay.
if we need a catch basin or an extension of the culvert in order to increase the radius on either side of the side street in order to give more room for vehicles to make that maneuver.
Okay, thank you. And is that, I'm sorry, are those turning radii, the ones that you're building to in the future, are those what's incorporated in our UCD today?
I would have to get with Ross and Daniel. I'm not sure if you know.
Would you mind taking an action just to follow up with Ross? And let's just make sure that if you're learning things as part of turning radii, that we don't continue to design things.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
The next handful of projects are drainage related. We've got Mimoso Circle, which is in Pineland Park, I believe, Councilwoman Seiden, it's in your district. There's just some cross culverts that were failing and blocking up drainage, so we're going in to replace those. Drury Lane is in Kings Point. It was sinkholes that we were dealing with. Jane Drive, Councilman Bender, I believe we talked about that earlier today, in Coindaleston, with the large culverts that were failing there, so we're replacing those culverts. And then Clausel Street is again some more culverts that we're replacing, and then Chameley Drive and Wildwood is a turning radius improvement, and then some deep patching along to take care of some of those failures on Chameley.
Jay, what causes the culverts to fail? What's their typical life?
I mean, it all depends. You would like to think you'd get probably 20 years or so out of them, but sometimes it's settlement, creates a separation between the joints, which causes inflow and sinkholes.
Okay.
Sometimes, if you get 20 years out of the culvert, some can be 20 or 30 years old, and they start to rot out and fail. So it all kind of just depends on what's going on. Sometimes there's heavy traffic over it, and maybe not enough cover causes a failure.
Okay, are these ones that you're putting liners in, or are these actually remove and replace?
No, these are remove and replace. I think the only one that was a liner was the Avenue Saint Germain, or Place Saint Germain.
Okay.
That was and so typically the liners is going to be more expensive than taking it out and replacing it, but I believe in certain instances like Saint Germain, we don't have a lot of room, and there's probably some either houses close by in the vicinity, or there's some other restriction that causes us to need to leave that in place and just line inside of it, but it's typically more expensive to do that.
It basically gives you the opportunity to do an in situ repair as
Correct.
opposed to pulling it out and damage, or potentially turning up the dirt in the area.
Correct. Between
Okay.
utilities and fences and pools and sheds and houses, sometimes it's just the only way we can get in and do it.
All right, thanks.
And back over to Daniel.
All right. So this is what I always look forward to, the projects that are coming up next. First, we have Harrison Avenue rehabilitation. Anybody that's driven down Harrison Avenue knows it's in need of rehabilitation. Yes, very much so. The drought did us a number. What was that, 2 years ago, drying out the ditches along the side of the road, settled out the road really well, made a nice crack down the entire length of it with settlement. But this is a big one. I would consider this phase one only. So this is from Abita Ridge subdivision to Highway 59. The first leg from Abita Ridge to US 190 is running as a separate project that includes widening, some turning improvements, and an intersection improvements at Falconer Boulevard. So let's say any of the general public, I would ask to bear with us. We're going to get a portion done. A portion's going to remain undone until we get the other project moving through, which we're expecting sometime next year.
So this is a two-phase project?
Two-phase
Just
project,
two. Okay,
yes.
thank you.
Here's one. It's not a road or drainage project, but I included this one on here for Councilman Corbin and Councilman Bender because they're always asking me questions about it. St. Tammany Parish Fishing Pier. The project design is complete. We have submitted all our documents to procurement. They're processing the paperwork now, so it will go out to bid in the next couple of weeks. So as soon as I get an advertisement date when it's hitting the newspaper, I will let everybody know what day it's hitting the newspaper. But we're moving forward with the project. It's great news.
Well, thanks, Daniel. I know this one's been a long time coming. There's been a lot of people asking about it, so.
Yeah, Daniel mentioned this to me earlier today. Just for everybody's information, the money is coming from FEMA, the vast, very vast lion's share of it. And the good news is that instead of building it with a wood base that you enter onto the platform with, which was the original construction 10 years ago, it's going to be steel. It is not going to end at the shoreline. It's going to come in towards the parking area. And the rest of it, of course, is the old twin span, which is concrete. So it's going to be paid for by FEMA. They did accept, and I want to thank Daniel and I think the finance department and Jay for talking to FEMA about choosing the more expensive project. So they're giving us more money than they had to give us, but we're getting a much better product out of it that is not as subject to hurricane destruction. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't want to rebuild this, what, a fourth time?
That's
It's
right.
already been 3 times.
No, second time.
Second time. Next, I have another one that's been a long time coming for me. Lakeview Drive, North Shore Circle rehabilitation in Councilman Corbin's district. Again, everything's been signed on my end, ready to go, submitted to procurement. As soon as I get a bid date, I'll let everyone know what day it's bidding. This is road rehabilitation for the length of Lakeshore Drive and North Shore Circle. It's much needed in this area. Next on the list is another road rehabilitation project, Brown Switch Road and Ben Thomas Road. This is, I guess, split between Councilman Burke's district and Councilman Strickland's district. I did want to note on here, we are specifying nighttime work for this project. If you haven't driven by Brown Switch Road, it gets pretty backed up. I wish I could improve that situation, but most of it's due to the state at Highway 11. We need the Highway 11 improvements on that. Considering the amount of traffic on that road, I think it gets close to 16,000, 17,000 vehicles a day. We decided that the best option was to do this work at night. And again, same with Ben Thomas, that they're coupled together. Ben Thomas sees a lot of traffic from Textron and those other facilities, which we do not want to disrupt during the day. So we're doing nighttime work.
Daniel, is this just a mill and overlay, or are you also doing anything to improve where the Highway 11 interfaces with Brown Switch to add another, like a right turn lane, or is there any improvements there, or is this only a mill and overlay?
It's only a mill and overlay. We're gonna, what I say, you have certain things you gotta avoid in this area, so I can't get too close to the railroad tracks or involves them, so we're milling up to the limits of the railroad, not involving the railroad, and then we're going up to the state right-of-way on that end. But it will be, we'll restripe accordingly.
Well, that's what I figured. I mean, I thought that was the answer, but I wasn't certain. And then in Ben Thomas, there's downstream work being worked with DOTD associated with improved economic development improvements for that area.
Yeah, and I guess for a project not on the list, we are doing a traffic evaluation on Highway 11 at Ben Thomas. We got a few interesting things from the consultant on that leaving me highly optimistic. That we can do something a little creative, not really seen in St. Tammany, but also facilitate traffic off of Ben Thomas, and it would be quick to implement. So I'm hoping I'm not going to, as I said, I got a smile on my face. It seems like a good thing. They're finishing running on numbers, and I hope I have great news to give everybody on that.
You're not planning in a vacuum.
Right.
Councilman Burke?
Yes, well, as you know, on Brown Switch Road, they're also putting a hotel right next to Frdella's too, so.
Oh, really?
That's going
I
to be
guess
another, I think, 70 or 80 room hotel.
By the Waffle House?
Right between
Waffle House?
Frdella's and the Waffle House, so that's going to increase traffic there too as well.
Another project we have is a bridge replacement project, St. John Church Road Bridge, in Councilwoman Casabon's district. This project, and when I go to the next slide, I would always tell everybody, the three big hangups that I always have on capital projects and Department of Engineering is DOTD approvals, environmental approvals, and right-of-way. Like, if we got a magic project, which I guess Public Works gets pretty often compared to me, is if you involve any of those, you might as well add a year to the project for each of them, maybe a little more. But, so St. John Church Road's been ready for construction for about, I don't know, 5 months now, and we just getting our right-of-way cleared and putting it out to bid. So going to the next list, every one of these projects are ready to go. We have budgeted funds for them. We're not expecting any additional funding need. The only thing we're waiting for is right-of-way to clear through our processes.
So when you say they're ready to go, they're shovel-ready, engineering's complete. The only thing holding them up is the right-of-way.
Yeah. Once
Okay.
white right-of-way clears, we'll be advertising for bid within a month.
Great, thank you, Daniel.
So-
Just want to make
so-
sure I understood those terms.
Yep. So I got lock number 2 road bridge. Again, it's ready. I'm optimistic that these are going to advertise by August, but again, right away, it could be anywhere from 9 months to a year and a half. So it's hard to predict the schedule. Smith Road in Councilman Rawlings' district, that we were doing a bridge replacement there. The road was in poor condition, so we're going to do it all at one time. This is a major cut-through road, so I'm sure Councilman Rawlings is going to hear about it when we're in construction. But it is a much-needed project. If you're ever interested to see how bridges were done on the dime, if you go under Smith Road Bridge, you can still see the rail car print on the side of the trusses for the bridge. It's an old rail car bridge. Councilwoman Siden's district, I have 2 projects that are right next door to each other. Rayford Oaks subdivision drainage and West Madisonville drainage. West Madisonville drainage would be for Rayford Oaks, Grand Oaks, and Montgomery Terrace. So you see a lot of improvements, and these are more channelizing improvements, making sure the ponds function between the subdivisions. Very beneficial project, but again, waiting for my right-of-way to clear on it.
Okay.
Westfoot Regional Detention Pond Project. The project is designed, ready to go, shows substantial improvements to Tall Timbers area, which is in Councilman Phillips' district. The project's ready to go. The land is titled to the Archdiocese of New Orleans. They're in bankruptcy, so it has kind of drawn out our land acquisition. But we're seeing light at the end of the tunnel on this one, hoping that that'll clear and then we'll go to construction.
All right, thanks, Daniel. Sorry.
Press your button again, please. Press your thing.
There's no chance because of the court case the diocese is going through, they renege on the land donation?
Not as far as I'm aware. The legal department's been actively going back and forth with them on getting the agreement in place.
Can I ask him one other question about District 5? Where do we go, how do we pursue, for example, Councilwoman Siden's district and District 5, the service roads there by Judge Tanner, and then we pulled money from that roundabout that was going to go in there. So when would that money come back in, and how do we pursue getting the state to fix all that, those service roads and the crossover?
So I guess the service roads are property of the state,
state.
so that would be getting it programmed into the state for rehabilitation.
Is there an effort right now? I mean, the roads are falling apart. That's why I'm asking.
No, I have not made an ask of them for it, but I'd gladly put in one. I guess we could say good luck, but it's nice to at least get it on the list.
Okay, and then that roundabout money, when does that come? We have to do a study again, you said before,
Yes,
right?
that was one, the council had wanted us to relook at the traffic, and that's underway.
Okay, thank you.
So we have only 2 projects here, and they really probably could have been combined in the earlier slide. It's the 1, 2, 3, and 5 asphalt package, and it opens June 10th, so in like 2 weeks. 2 weeks that'll open. We try to just stagger that we don't advertise and have them go out to bid all the asphalt packages at the same time. We try and just stagger them out a little bit. So this is just the last one of the asphalt packages that we're putting out. And then South Down, Tallow Creek subdivision sinkhole repairs is a drainage sinkhole repair project in Councilman Smith's district.
Oh, no. No, I say, we could present you on the projects, but now I'm gonna tell you, I guess, some of the issues we're having. I should have did this first and then give you the good news about stuff coming for construction. Several projects, Russo Road Bridge, pending final right-of-way. We have final plans together for it. This is in Councilwoman Casabon's district. It's critical access. I think you have close to 50 homes that this is their only way in and out. So it makes it a little more complicated for a bridge project where you can't detour. The current estimate we have on the project is $2.9 million for the bridge replacement. Current funds we have available is $2.4 million. So again, the project is ready for construction and we're reaching the finishing line on the right-of-way. So I expect to get a budget amendment request in for this project next week. I'll be turning my paperwork into finance next week.
And Daniel, what do you do for this? Do you build one half of the bridge and leave the other half open and then come back?
It's a slight shift off to the side. That's why we had to get the extra right away.
Okay.
But it's more or less, I guess, the best way, build half of the bridge, use half of the existing bridge, and do work accordingly.
Okay, thank you.
Another big one, Trace Bridge number 25. This is the one right next to the trailhead in Abita Springs. So it's the second largest Trace Bridge. Connect Covington to Abita. It's a big bridge. I guess that's all, you know. Right now, current estimate on it is almost the same as the roadway bridge, $2.9 million. Current funds are $1.7 million, and it's ready for construction. I know, again, this is a substantial ask for the Trace, but it is our second largest bridge, and it's in pretty poor condition.
When you say it's pretty poor, can you describe some of the issues that you're having at the bridge right now? Is it still functional, or is it closed?
It's still functional for pedestrians. You couldn't do a Ranger vehicle across it or anything of substantial load.
If you replaced it, what's your estimated lifetime? Bridges are designed for 30 years, 50
30
years? 30 years? Okay, thank you.
And then the other one, Trace connection to Heritage Park. Guess you could see the engineering project number dates back to 2016. So this project's been on the books for a long time. We're going to involve 2 bridges in paving. Slide L is expecting to have the rails removed starting in November. Our current estimate on that is $3 million, or when our current funds available is $1.58 million. So there is a funding need for that project. It's going to kind of run in 2 phases. First, the bridges are going to get done, and then the paving work's going to get done. So I would like to bid the bridges towards the end of the year if Slide L's wrapping it up, so we can immediately roll into replacing the bridges once the rail's removed. So I may be making a budget request for that. Again, budget amendments get weird. If we're doing them at the year end, do we just wait a couple of months and budget it as part of our annual budget? That's why I had no specific date on it.
We're okay moving forward with them if they come in. Just so the members of the committee know, there's a subset of us that actually meet with the city of Slidell on a bi-monthly basis to status this project, and have been for probably 6 months now, and then we'll continue until we get to the completion. And so they're moving, the part they're responsible for is the rails part. They've wrapping that part up. There was a notional schedule they provided yesterday for the project. So this would finally get the trail connected all the way into Heritage Park when it's finished. So we'll be able to go Heritage Park all the way to Covington.
All right. That's it.
Are there any questions for anybody else? Councilman Bender? Where are you at? There. Other one, to your left. Microphone to your left.
Daniel, on this, and it's not because you left out my district, but my district is part of this as well. When you hit Gauze Boulevard and that straight shot into, down towards Heritage Park, and Heritage Park itself is in my district. But my question is not because you left it out, but is these funds take it all the way to Heritage Park?
So it takes it to Carnation Street, where the city of Slidell picks it up and carries it to Heritage Park. Yeah.
Okay, great. That's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
And Jerry, just so you know, the reason, or Councilman Bennett, the reason we've been meeting is to make sure that we keep those schedules aligned.
Yeah.
So as we've been meeting, we started to see who was lagging behind, and when we think we're starting to have firm dates develop, to make sure that engineering is moving apace. As Daniel pointed out, that's a 2016 project, so it's been in limbo for a long time.
Oh, it's been a long time.
So, but recently, as they've reached resolution with the railroad, appears that the city of Slidell's reached resolution with the railroad.
Yeah.
It's got everything kind of trying to move, stay in step, so we're not on the pointy end of the spear.
Yeah, this is great.
He's referring to our October meeting.
Yeah.
Daniel, thank you very much. Any other questions from anybody? From the audience?
All right, that's enough. Joycelyn Lowe, regarding the service road at Lakeview Hospital and that area, there's a fire station there. It looks like to me that it's very hard for those fire engines to go manage to get around those sharp turns to get out onto the main highway.
Yes, sir.
Is that included?
No, one of the things when we get to that, I was going to ask Daniel, but I've heard there was some kickback from the state that fire department needs to have a rapid access to the intersection there instead of coming out on the side and then making a left turn or right turn to go on Judge Tanner where all the traffic is. You know, as the service road comes up and meets Judge Tanner, there needs to be the back door for the fire station to just come out there. So I heard DOTD rejected that before, but we probably would need to pursue that because it would probably take at least a minute or so response time away from them, you know, so.
I don't have an answer for you, but I'm gonna find out.
Well, when you put that on the list, I think that's what she's talking about, right?
You can actually see, you come along the service road, you can see over the ditch and
Yeah.
then through shallow amount of trees, you can see the fire engines right there. They could get out to the intersection.
Right, they'd be
rather than
right out-
Go this little road and up this way and come back down.
They'd be right there at 190 then, yeah, right.
yeah. I don't know who designed that or why, but
Daniel did.
Daniel. Don't beat up on him. Daniel's out.
I'm sorry, Dan.
That's the Phillips bus backing up. Thanks, Pat. All right, next speaker is going to be Chris Tissue. Chris is going to talk about our Department of Utilities. While Chris is coming up, some other things we'll be looking at in the future will include the facilities projects as well as the projects we have ongoing with the planning department, studies and things of that sort. Jay, thank you. You guys did a very good job.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. Thanks.
All right, Chris, over to you.
All right. So I got a whole bunch of projects up here, and so I'll go through them relatively quickly. And if you guys have a particular project you want me to go into more detail on, just let me know. So start off with Department of Utilities. These are some of our major water and sewer projects we have going on right now. I've given a handful of presentations here in the past month or two, and I always like to acknowledge President Cooper and the council and their commitment to putting money into the infrastructure, as there wasn't a whole lot put in beforehand. And so the past 5 years has really been a significant effort to fund the utilities, make grant requests, and capital outlay. And it's been a lot of support from the council, the parish president, and the legislators. Let's go ahead and start with the sewer projects. So we're going to start with the water sector project we did for phase 2. This is Councilman Seiden's district, Councilman Smith's district, and Councilman Kazaman's district. Touches all those. This is an effort to remove 9 wastewater treatment plants along Brewster Road to improve the water quality in the watershed area along that west end of Brewster, as well as increase the efficiency of the operations of utilities. And so the first thing we did was to model it. So we had a consultant go through, we tested all the lift stations, looked at the different collection systems, and came up with the correct wet well sizes as well as pump sizes to be able to tie everything in together. And it's all being routed to the West St. Tammany Regional Wastewater Treatment Plant on the north side of 1085, just west of the 1077 roundabout with Bootlegger Road.
Okay. What's the color coding mean on that? The green versus the red
Let's see.
or purple?
So green is the existing collection system for West St. Tammany, and the purple is the new that we're adding.
That you're
So
linking,
when we
linking
modeled
into
it, we had the existing system, which would be the green, and then we added, part of the task for the modeler was to add the purple system, it's a different collection systems, to the overall West St. Tammany system.
Okay.
So that was the new improvements being added to that system. And so the final model shows the entire system.
These don't have individual treatment systems now. They have neighborhood, correct?
Correct. So each one of these subdivisions has its own treatment plant.
Okay.
And so most of them are about 30, 40 feet long, 15 feet tall,
Right.
and about 12 feet wide.
Okay.
And we process the sewer on site and discharge into the roadside ditches or some of the water bodies that run through that area.
Okay. And do they have water of they have Tammany Utility Water
Yes,
also? Okay. Councilwoman Seiden?
I have a question, but I can't remember the name of the subdivision that we talked about with the issues with their treatment plant. It's on 22.
Talking about Gust Island?
Yes. Is Gust Island included in this?
So,
I can't read. It's so small. I can't see
so
any
no,
of this.
it's not. So
Okay.
the Gust Island stuff is
Where is it in proximity to this? That's what I
So
want to know.
22 is the yellow line, on the
Right.
southwest corner there,
Right.
bottom left corner. Gus Island's on the south side of that line. So it's in the bottom left corner of the image on the screen.
Okay.
Which says Google Earth?
And the subdivisions that pump to Gust Island are on the north side 22.
Okay. I just
So
didn't know if
these are
this was
separate.
working to help their situation.
But we did meet with Steve Ernst, and
good.
I believe they resolved a lot of the issues with the smell and some of the items there. I know they made some improvements to it.
What did they, I mean, do you know offhand really just quickly what they did?
I'm not sure what they actually did. I know we went through and identified a couple things they could do to help improve the smell. And I know within a couple weeks, they had a couple contractors out there making improvements to it.
Okay, and have they built the fence around it
I
yet?
don't believe the fence is up yet.
Is there any time frame on that you have any idea
I'm
about?
not sure. I'd
Okay.
have to touch base with
Yeah.
Magnolia on that.
Okay, that'd be great, thank you.
Well,
Thanks, Chris.
so took the model information and we designed multiple projects in order to do all this. So all the water sector stuff had to be designed in a tight time frame to meet all the budget requirements and funding requirements for the grants associated with it. So we broke the projects into large enough pieces to make it worthwhile engineering doing the design that made sense, but at the same time small enough to where it could be done and designed in a timely manner. So Le Bois was one of the first ones we did. This is an individual wastewater treatment plant at this subdivision. And so this one is probably close to 90% complete. We're going through the testing right now with the pumps and tie-ins, and it'll be waiting on a couple of the other projects in order to wrap up. So we've been working with the residents in this subdivision. We had a couple air release valves installed in some front yards. And so we met with them to dress them up as best as possible. So next one is Dominion and Highland Oaks. Did you add that in? And so this one's moving forward. I believe they're getting ready to start clearing some of the sites. I know they've cleared, Ruel is also included in this, and they've cleared some of Ruel. And we've been working with the HOAs on this as far as the clearing and access and everything. And so this one's been out the bid, it's under contract, the notice proceed's been issued, And so the contractor just hasn't mobilized yet to the site.
So this is 0%?
This would be 0%.
Thanks. I'm sorry, on your first one on the analysis, what percent complete are you at?
The model's
Model's complete? Okay,
The first two tasks of the model are complete. The third task is not.
okay,
Third task is a post-calibration once everything's done.
okay.
And so once everything is complete and everything's online, they'll go back through, we'll pull flows, pull pressures, check the meters, and we'll make sure the model is calibrated to the actual system itself. That way we can use it for planning out future improvements. So Defunct Park and Fairfield Oaks, Three Rivers, they actually started last week directional drilling some of the force main out here. They've cleared Defunct Park. I'd say this is roughly 1% complete, 2%. I mean, they've mobilized this site and this has started. And this is just further east of Dominion Highland Oaks.
So the green lines that are up there, that's the sewage lines?
Yes, sir. That's the new force main.
Okay. And are you pumping it to the right or to the left?
To the right. Everything's going to pump back toward. So I started with Level, which is kind of in the middle, but if you got Dominion, Highland Oaks, Rue Eldershin, and Aldridge Oaks on the western end of Brewster. Everything's going to go east to 1077. We have a
Okay.
large force main that goes up 1077 underneath I-12 and into the West St. Tammany Regional Wastewater Plant.
Okay, the black dots are the pump station, the force pump stations?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Next one is the Post Oak and Fallbrook sewer system improvements. And this is replacing the Fallbrook lift station and upsizing it in order to accept all the additional flow being sent to it. This is under construction. They set the wet well. It's probably 35–40% complete right in there. And this will be, everything will pump to this lift station and then pump from here to the plant.
What level of redundancy do you have there?
Every one of these lift stations is going to have backup generators. This has got backup generators as well as a bypass and oversized wet well. And so we also have the ability to it's got we left the existing wet well to expand it. That way we bypass pump out of one of the other wet wells. So
Okay,
there's a lot of redundancy associated with this.
Okay. On the Defunct Park one, what percent is that complete?
Defunct Park, they just mobilized to
Just
it.
0%, okay, thank you.
So, next one is Highway 21. This is on the east side, right there by Natchez Trace subdivision in front of that. And so this one it's at 0%. It's been bid, it's been let, it's under contract. And at this point, we've met with HOA, we met with the contractor out there. We're just waiting for them to mobilize their crews.
Hey, Chris, all these have to be done by the end of 2026?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So at least gives a time frame for the members of the committee to understand when they're going to be complete.
Correct. And right now, the schedule's for everything to be completed first quarter 26.
Okay.
So then, from the Fallbrook lift station we talked about, that's about 35–40% complete by 1077 in Brewster. They'll pump to this, which is a receiving lift station at the West St. Tammany Wastewater Plant. And this will, right now everything pumps directly into the plant, so it's got about 30 feet of static head on it. And this will remove that 30 feet of static head and allow us to increase the velocity of the flows going through the pipe and remove some of the static head pressure. So, and this is also going to include the addition of multiple screens. They'll help with the smell and some of the operation of the plant.
So this is like a detention pond, essentially? I mean, it's not a detention pond, but it's a holding space to take that.
It's more of a processing space, not necessarily a holding space. So everything's going to dump in here. It'll run through mechanical screens where we'll pull solids, pieces of plastic, feminine hygiene products, rags, whatever, out and separate them. Put them into, compress them and dump them into a dumpster to be hauled off and allow just the water to be pumped and pass through.
Okay.
And so we've got the mechanical screens here of one sieve size. And then when they go to the headworks going into the plant, there's another set of mechanical screens that is much smaller sieve size to eliminate the additional stuff going in there.
Okay. Thanks, Chris.
And this one's probably 30% complete. The wet well's been poured. They just finished pouring the I'll call it false floor, false bottom. It's gonna be the top of the wet well, bottom floor of the building. So those are the projects on the west end of the parish for the sewer. I'm gonna jump to the east side now. So Crossgates Wastewater Treatment Plant, this one's currently under construction. The contractor's working on getting electrical set up at the building, or at the new plant. We're redoing the electrical systems being pulled in. We're operating the new equipment. Lemoyne Contractors is the construction company doing it. And we're estimating about 18 months to completion of this project. So I guess in essence what this is right now Crossgates has 3 plants that are about 40, 50 years old. And it's going to consolidate all these into one plant. It'll eliminate the other two plants afterwards. So we're going to use the footprint of plant 1, which is behind the building, to construct a larger, taller plant to hold more flow. So right now the current flow at this plant is 900,000 gallons a day, and so the new plant will be 1 million gallons per day. And it's pretty much maxed out for the allowable footprint we can do, and so that'll be the plant that gets constructed. And then once this 1 million gallons is in place, the end of this contract is to demo the rest of the 2 plants that are still there, and then clean the site up. So in the future, we'll be able to do a future expansion if needed. It'll be a clean site to start from.
Right, you could add additional capacity at that point in time.
Correct.
But it's not currently in scope to what you're working on.
Correct. The scope right now just includes demoing out the rest of the site and cleaning it up.
Yeah, one of the things that I've heard about, I think it was in a meeting with Tim Brown, but with the ability to empty the trucks when they go clean out a private or individual wastewater treatment system.
Yes, sir.
Is this the location that will do that? So we'll have capacity to go support those trucks going forward? Or are you going to have that at both places on either end of the parish?
So that's correct. So this right now is the only permitted septic receiving station in St. Tammany Parish. And right now we receive septic haulers. When they pump out individual sewer treatment systems, they'll come and they'll dump here. And so we're in the process of trying to set up to where we can continue that through construction. But once construction is complete, they'll have an actually set up area specifically and designated for septic reception. And it's like South Terrebonne, a couple of the parishes we've looked at that do this. It's a whole system. We come up, they hook the truck up, swipe a card, can do it any time of the day, any time of the night, and they pump out. It's got grit removal. It's got a couple screens to it. It's got a hot water wash down, separates the grease and fats, and then allows the rest of the water to go to the plant.
Okay. So, but you'll be maintaining that capability.
Correct. It'll also allow us to improve our treatment capabilities at Crossgates, because a lot of times if we have exceedances on the discharge monitoring reports, it's based off of if we get a heavy load from one of the septic haulers. If somebody dumps something like porta potty water or something, it'll shock load the plant and cause a disturbance as far as our treatment capabilities.
So this will help you even that out a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Great, thank you. And what % complete is that?
We're at the beginning of this. The contractor's mobilizing. They're putting the electric in place. They're doing prep work on the site. Next one is our Turtle Creek and Herwick Bluff lift station rehab and sewer force main. So this one's about 80% design. We've gone back and forth with the engineer a little bit on this, trying to wrap it up. And we should have the design finalized and submitted to LDH for permitting by the end of this summer. And so hopefully this will go out for bid before the end of the year. And this is to replace the existing lift station at Herwick Bluff. I don't know if you've been by it, but it's a big site. It's got an AT&T little platform in the front, but it's in a building. It's falling down on itself right now, and the wet well's starting to cave in a little bit. And it's 2 projects that got put into one. Okay. Essentially, we're going to go update the force main and redo the lift station, but we couldn't do the lift station and not the force main.
Right. And what's unique? Isn't there something unique about the replacement of this force main?
We're going to pipe burst it, which is different than something we've done elsewhere throughout the parish. For the most part, everybody puts new lines in. We're going to use the existing line, and we're going to come through and blow it out and pull a bigger line through it.
Okay.
Due to all the existing utilities in that area and the subsurface drainage.
So you're going to essentially do replacement in situ and while you're working on it, still maintain that flow because there's nowhere else for it to go.
Correct. So it's going to be sequenced, and that's part of putting the two projects together.
Okay.
Is that way the contractor doing the lift station is responsible for the lift station, the controls, and can time out when they do the different segments of line as they replace it.
Okay.
And back on the west side, we have our Highway 22 wastewater treatment plant. This one is structurally deficient, and we've been working on this for about 9 months with principal engineering about how to make structural repairs within budget, but at the same time provide wastewater treatment to Del Oaks, Indian Trace, handful of subdivisions on the south, Wedgewood Farms, Pin Chapel Road, Chapel Creek Apartments, all right there down 22. And so we met with different contractors, looking at different options, and we're kind of come up with a phased plan to be able to access it, maintain treatment capabilities, and rehabilitate the plant. The next one is the Bond Temp sewer system. This one is redoing the gravity sewer in this subdivision, along with relocating a lift station that we have on private property. And it's pulling everything off of private property and putting it back in either right of way or utility servitudes to where we have access to everything. And we're not having people have to enter onto private property behind fenced areas. And the lift station this is one of the worst lift stations we have, 310 in our assets. The bricks are falling in on it, the pumps go out regularly due to pieces of brick getting clogged in them. And we're regularly having to replace pumps at this site. So this is a much needed repair here. Going back to MWPPs, if you look at the numbers, Goodby's one where the number's high. It's due to a lot of the flow we had coming to it, and we didn't have the capacity to treat the amount of flow going to it. And so we've recently completed, we're just now putting online, probably this week, the additional 100,000 gallons per day treatment capabilities that we worked with the developers of a couple of neighboring subdivisions to put in order to service their subdivisions. And at the same site, we've come to you guys with a loan request that we just are in the process of scheduling the closing of for $7 million. And that's to provide a regional plant in place here. And so the previous one, the 100,000 gallons here that we're just finishing construction on, this will be added as a supplement to the existing plant and used in order to get enough flow as well as maintain treatment while the plant's under construction. And so this is about 80% completely designed right now. And this is one we're hoping to wrap up also this summer and go out to bid by the end of the year. But again, as kind of quote Daniel, I know he's still here, but we've been hung up with the Corps of Engineers as far as getting a determination and getting it through. And that's been a long time closing issue with the loan as well as wrapping up the plans. And so I'd like to give you a time frame on where this one's going to be and go to bid. But ultimately, it's hung up in the Corps right now. And until we get an answer or response from them on how to move this forward, we're kind of stuck.
Okay.
This is a capital outlay funded project. This is providing the Wadsworth wastewater treatment plant. This would decommission that, and install a regional lift station at Gulf South, along with a sewer force main from the north side 1088 and I-12 to our Castine wastewater treatment plant. This should open up and is anticipated to provide treatment for most of the 1088 corridor north of I-12, allow future developments. It also provides us some additional opportunities to potentially consolidate some of our other plants that we're looking at. And so right now, this is at the right-of-way stage where we're working with engineer and developer to acquire the right-of-way needed to get the force main from Gulf South to the Castine wastewater treatment plant.
So is that flowing from bottom to top or top to bottom?
From top to bottom.
Thank you.
So the next one, this is on Highway 59. This is our Autumn Wind wastewater treatment plant. We've been working with the developer to rehabilitate the plant and expand it. This is on Hoffman Road, on the north side of it. It provides wastewater treatment to Autumn Wind subdivision, and it will provide treatment to Bellevue subdivision as well when that one gets built. And so this is about 50% complete right now.
Where is that at exactly?
It's on Highway 59. You make a right or turn east on to Hoffman Road, and then before you get to the Autumn Wind, you go over the trace, and then it's the next road on the left, and it's tucked back in the trees. It's behind some homes that you can't see. You're not able to see it from the road. So before I move into the water project, any questions on sewer projects? All right.
Sounds like we're rebuilding sewers across the whole parish. So,
Yes, sir. We're pretty evenly distributed. We're doing about 50% on the west and 50% on the east.
right,
I
pretty
think on
impressive.
the water, we're probably 60 to 70% on the east with the water and about 30% on the west. All right, so I'll go a little quicker here through these. So Alton, this project is grant funded. This is a interconnect with the Ashton Park system on Haas Road to Alton to provide a secondary source for the Alton water system. And this is, we're going to revise the design a little bit. We got some new information to where we can save a significant amount of money on construction with a small tweak in the design. And so we're going to be doing that this summer. And this also should wrap up this fall to where we can look at going to bid. We've got construction funding for this set aside. It's just a matter of closing out the design on it and getting it submitted to LDH for permit. Safe Haven, this project is running behind right now from the water well, but it's been due to unforeseen issues we've encountered throughout the project. But we're at the last phase of this. It's 90% complete, and we've got one last change order we're in the process of moving forward with, and that'll allow us to close this project out in the next month or two. Moving to the Cross Gates water system, we got the East St. Tammany, the phase one, this Cross Gates proper. Did a model for this one. It included the consolidation of Meadow Lake, as well as several of the mobile home parks in the area. And next slide two is phase two, where we did the model for that to expand it to incorporate the additional areas that we're tying and consolidating in to the Cross Gates water system. The model is the first step we did, and it was done the same way as the sewer model on the west side, where we did the existing conditions, and then we add the new conditions to it as well as part of phase two. This allowed us to size the water towers, look at our pump sizes, run times, disinfection, and dosing. Allows us to identify points where we need to put flushing hydrants and evaluate water quality, as well as reestablish sampling points. We did the same thing on the west side with the vehicle fabric system, where we modeled the two systems separately and then combined them. Using the model information, we were able to revise our initial estimates that we submit to water sector in order to bring our projects back within budget due to the time frames and the scopes without having to make any scope changes, but just simply changing the sizes of the water towers and the types. So right now we've got 2 elevated towers in the Slidell area and the Cross Gates proper area under construction. The Willowwood Tower is about 95%. It's been coated and named, and at this point we're working on the piping at the bottom. And then the Willowwood, or the Ozone Pines Tower, that one's erected. It's currently being coated. It's also got the water well going on site right now that they're drilling. And so the work has been done with the well. The aquifer has been selected. We're waiting on the steel casing to come in so we can move forward with that. So we're in a several month lull in construction of the water well as we wait for the steel to come in before it can be set. Following the well construction going in, we're going to have disinfection buildings being constructed at each of these sites. They're going to be CMU block wall, real permanent buildings. They're all designed based off latest building codes as well as for flood elevations. They're going to provide us the ability to use multiple types of disinfection for the water. So at this time, none of the buildings have started. These will be the last things that start on the site. The Ozone Pines interconnection. This is probably about 70% complete. Some of these interconnections are already online. So right now, going through, Ozone is not online at all yet. These are all being pressure tested where they're in. They still have connections to make at some of the intersections in the Ozone Pine subdivision. And back to the Crossgate system. But the majority of the line has been installed. Lazy Wheels and Southern Manor Mobile Home Parks. These are both under construction right now. Lazy Wheels is probably close to 90%, and Southern Manor is probably around 70%. These are in Slidell on Military Road. So Lazy Wheels is actually up off Herwood Bluff Road, and then Southern Manor's on the west side of Military between Brown Switch and the Military Ridge subdivision. So one of the phase 2 projects for the water sector is River Oaks. We're overhauling this site as well. And currently the elevated tower is being constructed, and we're waiting on a steel crew now to come in, and they're estimated to come. So the foundation work's all done. The erection steel's been ordered, and the erection crew is scheduled to come on site in the October-November time. So as opposed to letting this time frame go to waste, we've had the building contractor move up his time frame to come in and start erecting the building. So the building's foundation work should start beginning of June. So the River Oaks building, this one's going to actually be an elevated structure due to the flood zone in the area. And so part of the scope is also elevating the well casing and changing out the pump at the well. As we move from site to site, another one of the sites included in phase 2 is Meadow Lake. This site's being completely overhauled on the water side. So it's going to have a new disinfection building, it'll have a new pump, and then it's also going to get an above ground storage tank in lieu of a elevated storage tank. Due to the cost as well as the amount of water that would be provided, we wouldn't be able to turn it over in time or optimize the ability to provide fresh water and maintain a capacity for fire flows and future development. We elected to go with an above ground storage tank at this site. This one is getting ready to get started. The contractor's on site, and they're all working on bringing power to the site. This is a consolidation of the River Oaks with the water main portion of it. This runs water line down Indian Village Road, and then it's Blue Ridge Park. It's Blue Ridge Roadway or Blue Ridge Drive, and then Military Road, or I guess it's shortcut at this point. And it ties everything back around to River Oaks. This is probably about 40% complete at this time with the water line in there. And the next one's the S&J and Tammany Mobile Home Parks. These are in the same vicinity of the water line we showed you before. They were separated out based off of the engineering scopes associated with them, the level of effort. And so both S&J and Tammany Mobile Home Park are contingent tying into the previous project. And so that's coordinated and being scheduled out. So S&J hasn't started yet, but Tammany Mobile Home Park is about 80% complete. The next one is South Military Road, Rue Esplanade. This is installing water lines through the remainder of French Branch and looping the Crossgate system along Military and through French Branch with Meadow Lakes. So the loop portion is constructed and is online at this point in order to allow us to use Meadow Lakes and steel. to provide water to the entire Crossgates area as needed while Willowwood's down. And then this project's 80% complete. The water line is all in, and we're working on the fire hydrants and some of the tie-ins around it. Moving to the west side of the parish, we closed out and completed our 2 of the 3 water sector projects as far as the water line extensions. And the last one we have under construction is the diversified pre-treatment facility. And the contractor has been going through the submittal process for a couple months now and should be mobilizing in June to the site to actually start construction. And then the last one we have coming up is we're in the process of getting a electrical engineer under contract to go through and provide evaluations at each of our well sites and provide correct generator sizing and plans and specs to allow us to have kind of a playbook to go from site to site to seek funding for installation of a generator with the correct size, as well as note any other electrical deficiencies or any items that need to be corrected in order to improve the well sites. So, I can go into a lot more detail if y'all want, if y'all have any other questions.
See what questions people have. Pat, you push your button?
As far as Westwood, that facility there, any updates on that? How's things going?
So we just completed startup of all but one blower. And so all the new blowers we've ordered have been installed and are online. Okay, we got one last one we're changing out. And we're waiting to get for the manufacturer and the equipment rep to come out and do the startup with us.
So are you getting any kind of favorable response from the neighborhood, all the work you've been doing over there?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, they can hear the water swishing and not the hum of equipment, but you know, we're gonna have to do the best we can do. So I can't really control the water swishing sound. But
Hey, thank you, I appreciate it.
So Chris, on the water side, similar to what you were talking about in the sewage side, those are major consolidation projects, of bringing projects together to provide us something that much more resembles a urban utility system as opposed to individual treatment and individual water wells serving very small groups. Is that a fair characterization?
yes, sir. Fair characterization, and the goal here is to provide sustainability and reliability. You know, it allows us to, if we, you know, for instance, right now we have to take Willowwood well offline in order to change the pump out, repair the casing, do the work of the site. But by doing the consolidation, tying in the Meadow Lake first, we've got 2 wells on that system. And then when this is all said and done, we'll have 5 separate water wells on that system of varying ages and sizes, along with elevated towers, a significant amount of storage capacity. So
So
it'll be
you-
a much improved water system.
Right, so you're providing a level of redundancy that doesn't exist today in many of those places. And then the water towers in particular give you storage capacity for major issues or things that might occur?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Any questions from anybody? Mr. Bender?
I just want to say very well done.
I've had a lot of help.
Very good presentation.
He didn't pitch it.
Well, thank you.
Chris, I really do appreciate it. I don't know if there's any other questions? Chris, there's a lot going on in your space. We know we've seen you coming up on a regular basis, getting adjustments in the budgets and things of that sort. It's nice to see where it's all going and what's being taken care of. So very much appreciate your time and your team's time in making that happen. One of the things I'd like to ask the members of the committee is I'll be sending you an email, and what I'll be looking for is, since this is our first time of doing projects, I'm looking for pluses and deltas. Pluses are things that went well in our meeting today that you'd like to see us replicate and go forward. Deltas are opportunities for improvement. So I'll send you a note and just say, if you got ideas. All we want to do is I want to provide an audience for us to be informed, to inform the public and also inform the council members, but also do it as expeditiously as possible and make sure we're providing valuable information. So I don't want to waste your time, and I know don't want to waste the team's time either. So we'll be looking for your suggestions or ideas for helping improve this as we do it move forward. Chris, thank you very, very much. Daniel, I think his book's here, but he's gone. I really appreciate Daniel and Jay. Also, I want to thank everybody that's here for
fine.
staying around and listening. I think when you hear it all at one time, you get a real sense of how fast and how far our parish is moving in both water and sewage in terms of providing for current residents and also building some capacity for future growth. So, Chris, thank you.
Well, I knew it was going to
All
be
right,
long,
y'all.
but I didn't mean
Motion
to
to
be that long.
adjourn?
That was actually a short version.
Thanks. I won't even take a vote. Thanks, y'all.